know. Let me tell you about a fox feeling famished and sly in a vineyard on a summer's day under the bright sky. Under the bright sky. On a scorching day, fox was on a roam, hungry in the forest far away from home. Spotted grapes hanging, juicy and high. Fox thought I need those as he aimed for the sky. Jumping high, reaching out, fox's efforts, no doubt. But the grapes stayed just too far, leaving fox with a hungry scar. Jumping high, reaching out, fox's efforts, no doubt. But the grapes stayed just too far, leaving fox with a hungry scar. Tried again, different way. Fox kept leaping, wouldn't sway. Angles and techniques, all in vain. Grapes stayed out of reach, causing pain. Jumping high, reaching out, fox's efforts, no doubt. But the grapes stayed just too far, leaving fox with a hungry scar. Jumping high, reaching out, fox's efforts, no doubt. But the grapes stayed just too far, leaving fox with a hungry scar. Jumping high, reaching out, fox kept leaping, wouldn't sway. Angles and techniques, all in vain. Grapes stayed out of reach, causing pain. Causing pain. Panting hard, sat down to rest. Looked the grapes, feeling less. Frustration grew, heart sank low. But he wouldn't let his true feelings show. While sleep fell to the ground, fox stood up, looked around. Those grapes are sour, not worth my try, said the fox with a head held high. Jumping high, reaching out, fox's efforts, no doubt. But the grapes stayed just too far, leaving fox with a hungry scar. Jumping high, reaching out, fox's efforts, no doubt. But the grapes stayed just too far, leaving fox with a hungry scar. Jumping high, reaching out, fox kept leaping, wouldn't sway. Angles and techniques, all in vain. Grapes stayed out of reach, causing pain. Panting away, words in the air. Easy to hate what you can't snare. Moral of the story, plain to see. Don't let pride cloud your honesty.
The Fox and the Grapes. On a scorching summer day, a hungry fox wandered through the forest in search of food. As he roamed, he stumbled upon a vineyard filled with luscious, ripe grapes, hanging from a vine that climbed high up a trellis. The grapes looked plump, juicy, and refreshing, glistening in the sunlight. The sight of the grapes made the fox's mouth water, and he felt an overwhelming desire to taste them. The fox jumped up to grab a bunch of the grapes, but missed. Undeterred, he took a few steps back, ran, and leapt even higher, but he still couldn't reach them. Determined to succeed, the fox tried again and again using different angles and techniques, but each attempt ended in failure. The grapes remained just out of his grasp, tantalizingly close yet frustratingly distant. Panting and tired from his efforts, the fox sat down to catch his breath. He looked up at the grapes, his stomach rumbling with hunger. Despite his best efforts, it seemed impossible to reach the delectable fruit. As the minutes ticked by, the fox grew increasingly frustrated and disheartened. Finally, after one last desperate attempt, the fox fell to the ground, exhausted. Realizing that he was not going to succeed, he stood up, brushed himself off, and walked away with his head held high. As he turned his back on the vineyard, he muttered to himself, "Those grapes are probably sour anyway. Who would want to eat such unripe, bitter fruit?" The fox's words echoed through the forest as he trotted away, trying to convince himself that he hadn't wanted the grapes after all. Deep down, however, he knew the truth. The grapes were perfectly ripe and delicious, and he had simply been unable to reach them. but rather than admit defeat, he chose to pretend that the grapes were not worth his effort. As the fox disappeared into the forest, the moral of his story lingered in the air. It's easy to despise what you cannot have. The fox's tale became a lesson for all the animals in the forest, reminding them to be honest with themselves and not to let pride cloud their judgment.